Good morning. Welcome to Sports Desk Live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook, along with producer Alden Iwani. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our very special guest today is Mexico Sports Hall of Famer, an accomplished track athlete. She was inducted into Mexico Sports Hall of Fame in 2003, Val Boyer-Wells. Val, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ed. I appreciate it.
Well, it was a chance meeting that we met at the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame dinner, and a lot of accomplished athletes there. Robin Cole's there, Preston Denard's there, a lot of New Mexican. Charlie Crist was going to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. So when you and I started talking, and it was amazing your accomplishments in track, and we've got some great pictures we'll show in the second part of the show. But you know what, Val, there was also a recent development in that you were inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame. And, when you texted me, anytime someone's inducted, I'm the chairperson of the Highland Sports Hall of Fame here in town. And I told you that. And so anytime anybody's inducted, I'm right there when I've seen it at Highland. So tell us a little bit about what being inducted to the Arizona State Hall of Fame meant to you.
Oh, my goodness. So it hasn't happened yet. The luncheon is on Friday, October 4th, and then we'll be inducted on the 5th of October during the Kansas ASU football game. But it's very hard for me to come up with the words to express how overwhelmingly joyful I am about becoming a member of the ASU Hall of Fame. It's one of those things that was one thing I hadn't done yet, and never really thought it would happen. And when I got the phone call from Doug Tamaru with ASU Media, I really thought somebody was punking me. Like it was a punk call. Because the text message went to my husband's phone and said, I need to talk to you, have some great news. And I'm like, who is this? And so when I text him back saying, this is Valerye. I hear you want to talk to me. And that's when he called, and I was like, are you serious? It is a great honor. Just like being in the New Mexico Hall of Fame, it was a great honor. This one from my school is just special.
I can only imagine. Again, you're New Mexico Sports Hall of Famer. You grew up here, though. That's important to know. We're going to talk about that. And, the other thing is we have to mention this, and we'll get to this in the second part. You graduated with honors in criminal justice in 1981 and immediately attended Sandra O'Connor's School of Law, graduated in 1985, licensed to practice law. You had a brilliant law career. You were a judge. There's so many things. And, I talked to Coach Ciccarello this morning, and we're going to talk about a little something that he told me about you. Because you used your education to get what you wanted, man. You did. And, that's, you had a goal. And that's, I think that's something that we'll definitely mention. But, I got to ask you this, this is something that really caught my eye because, Title IX, there wasn't a lot of, female sports back in the day. Susan Vigil McEachin, the accomplished track runner at Highland. Well, she didn't run at Highland because there was no team to run on. But the accomplished track runner at UNM. Talk a little bit about how you started the track team, the girls' track team at Manzano many years ago.
Oh, thank you, Ed, for mentioning that. So in 1975, I believe, around then, 74, 75, I started high school. And I wanted to run track, so therefore I had to run on the boys' track team because there was no girls' track team. And I didn't think that was fair because there's no way I'm going to be a state champion if I have to run against boys, right? So Norma Sims, who was the athletic director at Manzano at the time, I went to her and asked, what do I have to do, or what do we need to do in order to get a girls' track team? She said, you need a coach, and you need girls. And if you get those two things, we can have a girls' track team. So Jim Ciccarello, who was my age club track coach since I was 10, he said he would be the coach. And then I just started recruiting girls. Whether they were big girls, little girls, it didn't matter. If they told me they didn't know how to run, I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll have some weight thing you can do. You can shot put, you can discus throw, you can javelin, whatever. And if you don't think you can run fast, there's distance running. And whatever you do, it's going to be good for you. And we're going to have a team and we're going to be really good. And I put all these together. And the first year that we had the track team, we went to state in Artesia, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little controversy about our relay team at the district meet, and we got disqualified. Two schools complained because we didn't have any uniforms. We had T-shirts. That's all we had. So we wore shorts, and my favorite colors, my favorite shorts were orange. And everybody else had, some had white, some had black, whatever. But our uniform was a T-shirt, but they complained that we didn't all have the same uniform, so we got disqualified. Even though
Really?
We won the relay, the 4x1 relay. And the girls couldn't run. So I was basically the only person on the track team to qualify for state. And it hurt so bad because I know these young ladies worked really hard. So at state in 1976, Manzano High School, first year out, we took third in state. I won the 50, the 100, the 200, and the long jump, making state records, and beat the schools that complained against me because I had the wrong color shorts on. And so even though they did that, our school still did better. I was a high pointer. And then the next year, some of my club track girls are now at Manzano High School because they're now freshmen. Sally Marcus is there.
Yes.
Metcalf, Christina Brockoff. So now I have some help. So 77, second time we took state. And that's the start of Manzano High School girls track team.
Talk a little about, when you mentioned Sally Marquez, of course, she's the head of the New Mexico Activities Association. And, I've known Sally for a long time. I didn't know that part about her, though. There's always a past, right? And but it's funny, when I had to laugh when you said you were wearing orange shorts in Artesia. Artesia's colors are orange. And, they've won 30-some football championships. They hadn't won that many then, but I had to kind of smile because you're wearing those orange shorts and Artesia's colors are orange. But how ridiculous to be disqualified for that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was the rules. This was at the district meet in Albuquerque. The state meet just happened to be in Artesia. I'm a rule follower. If it's the law, it's the law. Like, had we known that a relay team, they all had to have, the same color shirt and bottoms and earrings and necklaces and whatever else, that were not part of your body. And there were other people who ran on relays who had different shorts, and no one complained about them. It was the fact that we won. And, it is what it is. But
I've got to read this. This is a quote from Matt Lindsay in the, I told you, I know Matt and I officiated some high school basketball. He wrote for the Albuquerque Journal. Saturday night's 1977 girls state meet. Boyer proved to be the class of New Mexico, winning the 50, 100, 220, placing third with a subpar for her performance in the long jump. To finish things on the likable senior ran an amazing leg of the mile relay, making up some 80 yards on the field and helping Manzano to win the event. Wow. I mean, when I read that, I've been around a lot of athletes in sports, and I'm thinking 80 yards. Talk a little bit about that. That is unbelievable.
That, if anyone were to ask me, what is the race that you will remember for the rest of your life was the best race you ever ran? that would be the race, the 4x400 relays, 1977 state championship. And if we won the relay, we take state. And one of our girls, I think it was Cheryl Thompson, either was sick or got hurt, and she couldn't run. So I'm thinking we pulled Kathy Gurin, just like, come on, Kathy, you got to do it. And she's like, what? And we're like, yeah. And I remember giving them a pep talk, like, we could do this. All we got to do is get the baton to Sally in first, and we're good. And so when Kathy started it, I think I was second leg, if I'm not second or third, but I think I'm second leg. Could be third leg, but anyway, when I finally got the baton, we were probably 40 yards behind the first place runner when I got the baton. And all I remember is I'm just running, and I'm going after the person who's in first. And on that back stretch of the 400, there's usually nobody over there, and it's usually real quiet. You could hear the crowd go, woo!
Wow.
Like knocking off people, like taking them down on that back stretch. So coming around the last curve, I come off, and now I'm in first and get 20 yards in front of the person behind me. So that's the 80 yards they're talking about.
Unbelievable.
Or 60 yards or whatever it was. I might have had to make up like 40 or so yards and then give the next runner a lead to give Sally Marcus the baton in first place.
Talk a little bit about,
Ciccarello was in the stands trying to time the laps, the quarters.
Right.
He almost fell and broke his neck watching that.
And you know what? That's Jim's still coaching, still working, still at it. And that's a very young Jim Ciccarello. I can see that, trying to bend his trying to time that. Tell us a little bit about, not a lot of people don't know this about Sally. What kind of runner was she? What kind of athlete was she?
Top of the line. We used to compete against each other. I was Duke City Dashers or Albuquerque Track Club. And she was, I think, Albuquerque Olympic Club, AOC. So we were always competing against each other, at least our teams were. One of and she's a Hall of Famer herself. She's one of the best quarter milers in the state of New Mexico. And to finally get her at Manzano and be on her team, like be on a team with her and be on the relay, man, that's magic right there. She is such a nice person.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, she's done a great job at the New Mexico Activities Association. That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, and a lot of people she has to deal with. And it's a very, very tough job. Val, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about a little bit about your career at Arizona State, and then your career, your wonderful career, being a lawyer and then a judge. When we come back after these messages on the Sports Desk.
Thank you.
Jaramillo with this snap, he's going to roll out left. Going to look for somewhere to go. Thought about throwing, he's going to tuck it down, keep it himself, and he is in for the touchdown. What a play by Jose Jaramillo.
Here's the pass. Razzle dazzle. He's off to the races, number 3. Miranda goes in the end zone. Geraldo Felix Miranda for the touchdown.
And that's it! It's a Hefner block to win the game! The Cleveland Storm are your 2024 Metro Volleyball champions. look crisp, and they haven't gotten Cheeto Lumbrera going, and that's got to be a concern. Slump Buster down the sideline, no question. It's a La Cueva touchdown. One play goes for 71 yards.
Yeah, broken coverage there. That's Cheeto right there. I think he went on a wheel route. So.
Drops back, fires away into space. Forehead stretches out. No, they said he caught it. Wow, what a catch. Second down. It's a shot down the field. There was some contact. Oh, what a catch! Touchdown Bears. Beautiful catch. Landeros gets a straight handoff. Oh, nice move. Breaks another one. Here we go. It's a foot race. House call. Touchdown. Landeros with his second.
Here they go again. And just like that, man, oh man, interception, touchdown, number 10, Eli Dominguez.
Something on the left, handoff. Nice block, cuts it inside, breaks free. Does he stay on his feet? He does. What a move. Check it out. Look at the speed. It's to the corner. Tries a cutback from behind. Excellent run with the touchdown-saving tackle.
Halfback on the left side there. Kind of a spread formation. He'll drop back. Looking for a receiver. And it's picked off. He's got some running room. And the Jaguars looking good on the interception. Will score a touchdown. And just like that, the Jaguars strike first. I tell you what, that's number 1, Jay Medid.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk, live on Comcast Channel 26, also streamed on Facebook. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. Our very special guest today is New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame inductee. She was inducted in 2003, accomplished track athlete Val Boyer-Wells. She's also going to be inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame. And, you know, Val, in the first half, you got so many accomplishments here. We want to, you know, we can't get to them all, but, you know, I do want to read a couple of them. Albuquerque Sports Hall of Fame Athlete of the Year in 1977, member of the USSR junior team member, finished second in the junior women's national in Los Angeles, California, 11.6 seconds in the 100 meters. That qualified her for the United States USSR junior meet held in Richmond. December 14th, 1977, Walter Athletes of the Year. You and Chuck Walter were chosen Tuesday as co-athletes of the Albuquerque Sports Hall of Fame. That was back in '77. So you've got so many accomplishments here, and we definitely want to get to there's some great pictures. People are going to see these pictures. We got to send this to Sally, man. Sally Marquez, we got to get it to her. But, I got a quote from Jim this morning, Coach Ciccarello, who's, the Hall of Famer himself. He's been coaching track and still is. She's the most dedicated athlete I've ever seen. All her mission was to get a degree. The minute I told her scholarships were going to be available, she lit up after the Olympic trials, which you ran against Evelyn Ashford in 1976, that you quit and said, that was it. I'm going to get my degree. Look at these pictures here. Unbelievable. Talk a little bit about that, what your goal was. You and I talked about it during the break, but talk about what your ultimate goal was. You ran against some great people, ran against the Russians, man. You ran against the Russians, but talk about what your goal was.
So when I was 10 is when I met Ciccarello, and he was starting a track team with 3 other guys, the Duke City Dashers. And he told me, if you run track and you run well enough, because Title IX had just kicked in, you can get a scholarship and go to college for free. And my mom, being a single mom of 7 kids, I'm the second to the youngest. I'm like, free, like I can afford free, and all I got to do is run, and I like running. And so at that moment, that was my whole entire goal. I was the first of my siblings to graduate from high school and then to go on to college. In '76, I ran my first Olympic trials, which is amazing to run against Evelyn Ashford and Chanda Cheeseborough and Brenda Moorhead and some of the greatest athletes the United States has ever had. And to be, so awestruck. So in the 80 Olympic trials, I ran also in the 80, but we had the boycott.
Right.
But by then, those girls are now my friends. I know them. They know me. We hang out, when we're all at the meets and we're staying on campus. And that was an honor to be on the World Cup team with Evelyn. She was the first leg of the relay. I was the anchor leg in the World Cup. Edwin Moses was our team captain.
She's another name.
And I was hanging out and real good friends. Carl and I even toured Canada that summer of the after the World Cup. So had some really nice, good relationships in track and field. And they wanted me to tour Asia or some European or someplace. And I was like, sorry, I can't because I'll miss too much school. And the goal is to get the degree, not to be a runner.
You know what, that a lot of people would have said, hey, who would have passed that chance up, right? But you knew what you wanted. In law school, my son is an attorney. That's no joke, right? You have to. My son, thank God, passed the bar the first time, and he's doing well as an attorney here in town. But you also attended Arizona State on a full year track and field scholarship. 1979, competed in the AAU national meet, second in the 100 meters, made the USA World Cup team that competed in Montreal, Canada, anchor leg of the 4x100 relay, which placed fourth. Evelyn Ashford was the first leg of the relay, and we just saw the 4x100. We were just talking about that this summer. Gabby Thomas, Sha'Carri Richardson. What a race! What a race that was. Talk a little bit about that in the 4x100. All the handoffs. Talk a little because you got to practice a lot. Talk a little bit about that.
So what's interesting is there are probably at least 4 to 7, 8 girls who are there that could be on the 4x1, and you're doing handoffs with different people until they decide who's actually going to be on the relay team. And if you notice, sometimes you'll have someone run in the semifinals, but not in the finals or in the preliminaries, in order to save somebody's legs. Like, I don't think Gabby Thomas ran in the first 4x1 to qualify. So handoffs, as you can know, are crucial and really syncing with the young ladies when you run. The men have had trouble when it comes to the finals for years. And that tells you how how sacred and crazy it can be, all at the same time. And you're always competing. You're always competing for a leg on the relay team. And you might not realize that you're on the team for that actually running until maybe a day or two before the actual race. It's to see those women and hit those handoffs like they did. They made it look easy, but it's not. It's extremely hard because they're running really fast. If you take out too soon, you blow it. If you take out too slow, you blow it. You know, it's got to be precise.
Gabby Thomas's handoff to Shakari Richardson was
Perfect.
just textbook, and then you see her yelling, like go. I told you I ran that race back 20 times, man, because the guy that's calling it, that's gold for the United States, man. And that's what you live for, right? And of course, you could have you ran in the trials, and with Evan and Ashford when you're on the same team, and then you mentioned Edwin Moses, the high hurdler. I mean, those are Carl Lewis. You mentioned him. Those are track names that when you hear them, you're like, oh my goodness. So you've again a well-earned place in the New Mexico Albuquerque Sports Hall of Fame in 2003, and going to be inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame. Val, we got about 3 minutes left, and we definitely want to talk about your career as an attorney, and then over 20 years you worked in the private sector for 13 years, and then on June 30th, 2021, you retired. You still serve as judge pro tem for both the Mesa and Chandler municipal courts. You live in Phoenix, out there, Phoenix, or
Phoenix area. I'm in Paradise Valley, but Phoenix.
Talk a little bit about what your legal career meant to you. I mean, that meant more to you than your track career. It was amazing. But talk about a little bit about what your legal careers meant.
So the whole thing about track and field is the ability to help me set goals. And so when I knew I wanted to go to law school, because Tommy Jewell went to law school and Judge Jewell became a judge. And I'm like, oh, if Tommy could do it, I could do it. Tommy was my best friend.
He just lives down the street from me. He just lives down the street. Go ahead.
And I so admire him that if Tommy could do it, I could do it. So he was always my role model. And so when I started out going to law school, I knew I wanted to be a judge. And so did all the things that you're supposed to do, go to class, do well, take tests, pass the bar, make sure you protect your career. Don't make stupid decisions. Don't hang out with stupid people, things like that.
Right.
And I wanted to know criminal and civil law. So I was a prosecuting attorney. And then I became an insurance defense lawyer for State Farm. And then I went on the bench for the city of Mesa in the criminal court. My undergrad degree is in criminal law. I couldn't be a probation officer because I couldn't pass the test. Took it 4 times, flunked it 4 times. Took the law school admission test once, took the bar once, and became a lawyer, and I enjoyed every bit of it, being a trial lawyer, and totally enjoyed being a judge. The way I got my foot in the door at being a judge is I pro tem'd as a judge. That's like a volunteer judge to get the experience, right? And then they hired me, and now I pro tem and they pay me. So it's like my little side hustle to keep my brain sharp in retirement. City of Mesa, I was their prosecuting attorney. I left, went to State Farm, and then they hired me back as a judge. Wonderful place to work. The presiding judge in Chandler, when I retired, asked me to come and help them. I enjoyed that court also. It means a lot that I can serve my community. And I think being a public service as a prosecuting attorney or as a judge is an honorable profession.
You've had an amazing career, Val. And you started, like I said, the track team of Manzano. That's amazing in itself, and look where it led you. Val Boyer-Wells, New Mexico Sports Hall of Famer, inductee in 2003, soon to be inducted into the Arizona State Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for being our guest today. We sure we're honored by your presence.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
For producer Alden Iwani, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.